Action refers to the basic unit of screenwriting, including descriptions of what happens visually in each scene, as well as physical and psychological movement. Action comprises the bulk of the screenplay, conveying character, sound, and visual details about the world to the audience or reader. Action description can also give the audience a glimpse into the character's attitude, their change, or insight into their core. The protagonist and anti-hero Alex in Stanley Kubrick's 1971 classic A Clockwork Orange imposes his will upon his victims through acts of rape and violence. And these actions then telegraph Alex's contemptuous attitude towards society. In Mel Gibson's 1995 epic Braveheart, William Wallace undergoes a character change when an English commander publicly executes his bride, which provokes William, ultimately sending him down the warrior's path. And in the 1967 classic Cool Hand Luke, Luke's character core is demonstrated, showing that no amount of physical, emotional, or psychological action pitted against him will break his rebellious nature. These action paragraphs are vital to the movement and structure of your screenplay. Keep in mind these 5 important factors as you're writing your script: brevity, clarity, creativity, paragraph breaks, and capitalization for emphasis. In action description, you must be concise. Give the briefest description possible that emphasizes what is most important in a given scene. To illustrate, take this example from screenwriter Michael Blake's adaptation of his novel Dances with Wolves. We see the tension through the operating table and conflict with the mangled foot, as well as hear Dunbar's pain when he screams. But the greatest emotion comes through the stick clenched between his teeth. This is great script economy because we learn so much in just a few words. Clarity is key. Since a screenplay is a description of events occurring on the screen, you must paint the clearest possible picture in the mind of the reader. Screenwriters James L. Brooks and Mark Andros illustrate the importance of clarity in their script for the film As Good as It Gets. The importance of Melvin's routine as he locks and unlocks, turning the lights quickly on and off, and the repetition of counting to 5 as well as doing things 5 times is incredibly clear. We understand immediately that Melvin suffers from an obsessive-compulsive disorder. Being clear and concise, however, does not mean that you should be dull or boring. Using metaphors and figures of speech often paint a stronger image than plain language. Take Shane Black's 1996 The Long Kiss Goodnight, where he describes an accident where 2 cars are thrown from an exploding tanker. Not only does Black paint an incredibly clear picture of 2 cars being tossed headlong over one another, it is made more powerful by the fact that he has been using a dice motif throughout the script. And of course, the power of the explosion, tossing these cars, has a magnitude only equal to God. When writing action, it's important to change paragraphs or insert a line break frequently. This helps to create more white space on the page. Essentially, a writer should start a new paragraph anytime a new idea is introduced. These could be an entirely new action, a new character, a new subject, a new visual, a new element, or any combination of these. You can also use spacing on the page for emphasis, pacing, and rhythm, making sure to limit your action description paragraphs to 3 or 4 lines. Long description paragraphs are too thick, overwhelming, hard to read, and tend to lack the correct dramatic emphasis. The more white space on the page, the better. If you want to emphasize an important visual or specific sound, even a sound that comes from off-screen, capitalize it. But do it sparingly. It's not necessary to capitalize all visuals or sounds, but occasional caps help to emphasize key elements. Take, for example, the following scene where a Chevy Nova drives through a thunderstorm culminating in a crash. Since the car swerves due to a bolt of lightning, which causes it to collide, you might want to consider capitalizing the implode of metal and glass as the car spins and flips. There is no one hard and fast rule that applies to every situation, but if caps for visuals and sounds are reserved for emphasis, typically they will be used correctly. To learn more about format, check out thescriptlab.com and click on our feature format template, which will walk you through every step of Screenplay Format.